Hello and welcome to the buy round.
Let's start with that then.
Do you reckon I put on a good accent?
Yeah, well, are you going to introduce us or?
That was.
No, but you didn't introduce me and you. You've said hello and welcome. You've not said who we are, what we're talking about.
Sorry.
How have you been?
Hello and welcome to the buy round. Joined by James Graham and I, myself, the cheese. Jimmy, how's your weekend been?
I like that cheese. That was fantastic. I think we should mix it up. Start you.
Thank you.
Opening the top of the show. Weekend's been a bit full on, but I've had an amazing discovery today. Like amazing.
Do you want me to ask what was your amazing? That was a long pause. I didn't know.
I figured out what's wrong with me.
Let me get the list out.
Add this to the list. No, I was listening to a podcast today, and you know when you're listening to something and you hear something described and you go, "That's me." That like someone's describing a situation.
Yeah.
I think I've got face blindness.
Elaborate.
So it's like it's a
Face blindness.
It's a disease. It's a disease. Or
Have you been on Google?
I haven't Googled it yet. I've ran with what they've gone on this podcast that I listened to. So face blindness is where you struggle to recognize people outside of their usual situation. And like the ability to recall faces is an evolutionary trait, right? That's helped us as a species, but it exists on a spectrum that some people have a really poor recollection of people's faces, i.e. people like myself that suffer from face blindness. But you've also got these people at the other end of the spectrum that remember everybody. So Bill Clinton is somebody that has a really strong, high recollection on the spectrum. This is what they were saying in this podcast. He recalls like people that he'd seen from school on a one-off thing. And for me, on the other end, it is actually also one of the, what's the correct word? Like the side effects of brain injury. So I think now I've got a label. I'm actually pretty happy with the fact that I'm.
Hello and welcome to the buy round where James Graham's got a brain injury and he's on the spectrum.
No, the face blind. Yeah, the face blind spectrum.
Oh, not just.
Oh, probably on the spectrum. But I think I'm actually delighted that I've got a bit of a label to stick on it and be like,
I'm on the label.
You know, like if someone, oh mate, you know, sorry, I'm just face blind. So, I'm. But yeah.
Well, congrats on your new labeling.
Mate. Yeah. So I'm just going to bounce around. Like people need to treat me differently. Treat me special with my new disease, face blindness. How was your weekend, Cheese? Featuring on Matty Johns.
It was good.
It was funny to see you sort of like giggle because we asked you the same question about Wayne and you're not allowed to speak about him. So
that was actually very awkward, wasn't it? I was trying to speak about him without speaking about him, which is difficult. But my weekend was good. It was my birthday on Saturday. I was expecting to come into a gift, but I don't see one.
No, well, hang on, we've not waited. Surprise! Oh, you've ruined the surprise. Charlie, bring it out.
No, but yeah, I went to dinner with Cooper Johns, my partner, and a few other friends. And long behold, Cooper Johns, he paid for the whole thing.
Did he?
And there was cocktail. It would have been a fair bill. I'm thinking $1,000 maybe, which is such a rare occurrence. Like I didn't even know his wallet was black until he pulled it out. I think bloody George Washington come out of it. He was actually in his wallet with a bunch of dust clouds that come out of it. And I noticed that he didn't use mum and dad's card. Usually, so there used to be a rumor that going around that I probably could confirm that when Cooper, he used to pay for like the boys' drinks and stuff, and we used to make fun of him for being like had like silver spoon and that. And he was like, well, was growing up with a silver spoon, but fuck, that silver spoon's paying for all your drinks right now. So he used to have this little black card that was Matty and John's card when he first come down, and he used to pay for everything. And then ever since I think that got taken away, I'd never seen anything shouted.
I suppose, to be fair, he does always have the inheritance to fall back on.
Exactly.
You know, like
he must be doing well in whatever he's doing at the moment, because
he's media personality, obviously very funny guy.
But then yes, also after the dinner, they continued on, and I had to go to bed, so Cooper stayed out.
No, you didn't have to go to bed. You made a choice.
I made a responsible decision to go home, and I ended up not wanting to catch an Uber all the way back to Paddington, so I just went back to Coop's house. We were at the Collaroy, so I was just down the road, and I just went and broke into Matty John's house and slept in a Coop's bed.
So you broke in?
I got in without permission. Yeah.
Do they have like that Ring doorbell or a security system?
I cannot indulge.
I'd love to see that footage.
But I think Trish and Matty were happier when I walked out of the room than when Cooper would walk out of the room.
I reckon Sunday morning waking up to see your face, I'd be like, oh, hi Brandon, how you going?
Yeah, exactly.
But
that was my weekend, anyways.
Yeah,
onto the footy.
The Broncos, arguably their worst performance of the season. Payne Haas, Patrick Carrigan back up, but they were embarrassed by a Manly outfit that had lost their last 3 home games at Brookvale, that were very fragile, that bombed a good 3 opportunities in the open exchanges, allowed Brisbane to stay in the contest, but they just couldn't fire. Daly Cherry Evans, motivated, but also tactically on another level. Obviously, we look at the performance, we look at where the Broncos go from here. The only really 2 players to come back into that team are Ben Hunt. Where he plays remains to be seen. And then obviously Reece Walsh, which will make a difference. I thought Arthur's tried really hard, but was probably found out in a couple of areas positionally. And then in attack, just not familiar with those situations and unable to take advantage of any sort of sweep plays.
Yeah, it's such a tough one, because you look at that Broncos side on paper and it is ridiculous. It's pretty bloody good. I mean, Payne Haas, Paddy Carrigan, they're 2 of the best front rowers in the game at the moment. Payne Haas probably been number 1 prop in the game. I can't help but feel sorry for him, because you see what he does, and for 80 minutes well, for every minute of the game he's trying his ass off. Like that play that just epitomised what he is about, where he chased back and he hit that ball dead. He probably didn't even need to do that, like it was covered, but the fact that he even had that thought, and mate, I just feel sorry for him, and I feel like he could be off to another club, and geez, he's going to demand some serious coin. But on the flip side, I thought Daly Cherry Evans really put on a masterclass in his kicking game. His kicking game was unreal, tactically, offensively, and yeah, we'll probably touch on it in Origin, but it was a real statement after everything that had been said about him. But it's hard to see where the Broncos go from here, whether the 2 people that are out come back in and make a difference, and it'll be interesting to see if Ben Hunt gets a hooker role, which I think would be a really big inclusion for them. I think their kicking game is lacking a bit at the moment. And having 2 kickers like Ben Hunt, Adam Reynolds, especially out of hooker, a kicking game like that. Billy Walters is good, but Ben Hunt's he's a hell of a hooker. He's the Queensland Origin hooker, and it makes me wonder, like where do you think they need to improve? Like what is it? A lot of journalists are talking about, a lot of stuff I've watched. It's like they're not playing for each other, but it's hard to, like, coming from footy point of view, it's hard to not imagine that a team's not playing for each other. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, but I think, Cheese, there are probably a couple of underlying issues there. There's arguably too many stars and uncertainty in and around who's playing what our best 17 looks like when everyone's fit. So obviously Ezra was missing. Then there's 3 hookers there in Walters, Pakes, and Moser. That's not including Ben. When I guess the plan would have been Ben Hunt plays 6 and then goes to 9. So that creates a bit of uncertainty. The 2 off-contract stars in Katoni Staggs, Selwyn Cobber, and this obviously happens at a lot of football clubs, but Katoni Staggs must be sat there thinking, why can't you get this deal done? I was the one player that stood up last year for the Broncos in 2024 when everyone else was, suffering from 23, having an off year. He was the one that put his hand up. He was amazing last year. He must be thinking, what have I got to do to get this deal done? And obviously, most players of his standing in the game, Selwyn Cobber included, are done, or at least heavily advanced. And then you look at the decision to bring Grant Anderson in, a player who plays in that wing centre role. Why are prioritising him over us? They would be thinking that. So there's a number of issues around there. For me, last year, yes, they had injuries, but their team cohesion, they looked like they were mentally scarred from 23. I think, you could throw in the fact that the way Walters was moved on, probably that doesn't sit well with people. And then this sort of push of a narrative that this was a player-driven decision. Then you've got a group of players and star players, and groups of people that work better when they're treated differently from other groups of people and certain personality types. So they've built this roster in terms of, it's not a talent issue at that football club. It's something that I don't believe they can recruit their way out of. It's about an environment set and coaching methods that are going to change this group, because they can't chop and change much. In fact, looking ahead, they're probably going to have to shed some of those stars in reality. So they're not going to have as much talent potential as what they currently have. Maybe that could help in the long run, but they don't look like their care factor or their group buy-in, their collective is anyway. And I think that I say that because when the Dragons played them, and it was spoken about in the week that if we stay in the contest for 60, they'll fall away at the last 20. That's actually what happened. But then also the fact that they did run away against the Roosters and they did run away against the Bulldogs. That's a team. That's the sign of a team that is talent stacked. And when the going's good, hey, we're all in when things are going good. But when the chips are down, we're not as. We'll go into self-preservation mode. And Payne Haas, he leads the way each and every week. Like that chase back, he made a couple of mistakes early in that game, I think. Now, he's only human, but I think that those mistakes were probably the fact that maybe his mind is somewhere else. Not in terms of playing somewhere else, but he's having to be putting out other people's fires and sorting things out that he's not usually used to. He can't just focus on his game. But it's hard to see what can change in a short period of time. You spoke, and you were quite strong on the fact that the players need to buy into Maguire, but then it doesn't seem like that's happening. Does Maguire need to change to fit this particular roster?
Well, I think at this point, they're not going good. And I'm not begging them, but they are not going. They're not living to their potential. And at this point, I think Madge has to have at least some sort of thought about changing, or at least asking questions of the players where surely that's happened, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Surely and if he hasn't, he needs to, like, gone and address the issues and tried to talk to the players, and maybe it's a more player-driven approach opposed to how I think Madge coaches, which is not so much player-driven and more like, I don't know what the word is for it, but authoritarian sort of. Authoritarian, that's sort of.
Authoritarian,
something like
He's
that.
an authoritarian.
That's why I said I don't know the word, everyone. Please don't clip that.
Good on you for at least having a crack. That's it,
I had
mate.
a crack.
Yeah.
I built a game on having a crack, all right? So, yeah, so there needs to be some... It is honestly dramas, and it's at that point where something big needs to change. And yeah, I've got no idea how they're going to do it, but it needs to be done soon.
Yeah, and I think when you look back to the end of 23, just how close they came, this playing group would know, like, if they get it right, what they're capable of.
I just disagree with the not playing for each other and they're out there alone and what I've heard. It's just, I don't know, but I'm not in the rooms with them, but it's not how you play rugby league. Like, it's not, you're not just a bunch of individuals out there. Like, you're busting your ass for the guy next to you. That's like how winning is done is playing for the guy beside you. And
but there's different degrees of that, and I've been in teams where we're tightly connected and we really care about each other.
Yeah.
And at times when, and especially when defeats start and people go into self-preservation mode, it changes. If the mood is down and they don't have that person to bring the mood back or bounce back, go again, it can become shitty pretty quick. And then once that pressure starts to dial up and everybody's talking about it, you can't seem to escape it. You know, they got to 6-4 and then they concede another try, and then you can almost see the doubt in game.
I saw the frustration at the end of the game. Towards the end, you could see the frustration and the heads dropping, and you know, just everything seems to not go your way. Like, it's tough. And do you think there's been so much drama around with the Ezra and the Madge, and there's been so much drama around the Broncos that it's starting to affect them and their fans, their fan base? You know, that Broncos in 2023, their fan base was wilding out. You know, the Broncos were the big shiny thing at the time, and you know, the players really got behind that because it boosted their egos and made them feel good about it themselves, and they were confident and they played that way. And at the moment, the news hasn't been positive at all, and they're feeling that. They're probably, you know what I mean? I feel like that's what a type of team they've become at the moment. They've got to invest in what's going on around them, and not so much what's going on internally in the club. But it's sad. It's sad because I know there's so many great people at that club and great players like, you know, Paddy and Payne, who deserve more than what they're getting from their team at the moment.
Well, I mean, like in terms of their roster, like Paddy Carrigan and Payne Haas are, I would say, the best front row combination.
Yeah.
In the competition.
Yeah. Which
goes a long way to delivering results. And you can't fault what they do each and every week.
Yeah.
And the thing for the Broncos is they're now 5-7. Obviously, we're one game through the Origin period. They have obviously every game of NRL
at the moment
is difficult and is going to require a huge effort to win. But they need to get things moving quickly, because this isn't just the top 8 expectation team. This is the expectation going into this year would have been top 4.
Yep.
Without doubt. So I think they've got the bye this week, Charlie, is that right? Or sorry, the bye after Origin. I think they...
Round 15. They're playing this weekend, the Broncos.
Yeah. They play the Titans this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got to get moving quick. they cannot afford to lose this game against the Titans, like at all. Madge has got some big questions to ask of himself and of his group.
I wonder if they've already had those meetings.
Well, they probably have.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've probably already had those meetings.
Yeah.
You can't have too many of those.
No, is it time for something like a bit extreme? I know my back end of the time at the Dogs, we were going for a bad time, bad run of results. The pressure was on. And like the review was done in the pub.
I was just about to say,
And
it's time for a pub intervention.
And maybe
When all things are going bad.
Yeah. And normally that gives, or a complete strip back, and lads, let's just. All we need to focus on is being there to get, like, let's forget the attacking plan. We know we've got points in us. Let's just defend together, back yourselves to do, like, just strip the weak completely back and just hang out together. Maybe that's the answer. I think for a short-term emotional response, they would.
From the outside looking in, it looks like a good answer.
Yeah.
It just looks like at the moment they don't need to worry about their footy so much. They need to worry about their cohesion.
Yes, absolutely. Let's get into the origin debate, Cheese. Don't think we've had you on since. No, we haven't. What did you make of the origin game?
I thought it was, as a non-biased Queenslander, I thought it was quite lackluster for me. I thought like the quality wasn't as good as it was. It has been. I wasn't happy that New South Wales won, obviously. But yeah, I just thought there was like a period in that game where the game was quite sloppy. A lot of knock-ons, a lot of errors, a lot of penalties. I thought it was quite a stop-starty sort of game. And I just thought like the whole hatred, the build-up wasn't as good. There wasn't, because of the people on the media bans, and there wasn't the banter, and just missed out on all that good stuff that Origin brings. It was just I was pretty upset. And I wasn't the only one. Like the people I watched it with were very similar, even they were New South Wales fans. But I don't know what the other public thinks. I just thought that very stop-starty game, a lot of knock-ons, a lot of balls to ground, a lot of penalties, a lot of just. It wasn't at the level that Origin has been of late.
Yeah. On the Spencer Leniu issue and whether or not they should or shouldn't kick to him, it wasn't even, for me, should you kick to him or not. It's the fact that they kicked away from
first,
him.
I mean, that I agree.
It's complex.
They changed the kickoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, you play in the middle. You probably wouldn't have that first collision, but... And obviously, someone that's played.
I wouldn't in that. I would give it a crack in that circumstance.
Give me the first shot.
Yeah, for sure. Mate, the only reason I don't make the first collision is because I get told to stand at 5 in.
Yeah.
Whereas I was at Melbourne, it wasn't like that. I wasn't. I like that stuff though. I like.
But would
I don't know if I'd like it against Spencer, but I'd definitely give it a crack in that moment.
Do you think they should have just stayed with the game plan and kicked to him? Like if you were Queensland, if you're in the mixer there, would you be like, lads, what are we doing? Like I know it's his best carry.
I
but let's
believe
go after
that
him.
you give Spencer a leg up by doing that.
By kicking to him?
No, by not kicking to him.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You give him the confidence to be like, these guys don't want me. These guys, you know what I mean? They don't want a piece of me. He probably gets another leg up. If you kick it off to him and you give him a slight hurt, and he can have a really good carry, and then he can, you know what I mean? It's a tough one. If you smack him there, what does it do to his confidence in the game? What does it do to your confidence? There's a risk versus reward. Of course, you can. Yeah. But you can't change what way you're kicking.
Because I've seen it's not like every team kicks away from him. Yeah. I remember playing at the Dogs and we we'd be going, when we play Melbourne, let's not kick to Nelson.
Nelson, yeah. I saw that all the time. I've seen people change.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but with all the stuff that's going on, it's different to that. It's not club footy tactics.
I'd say, yeah, that's it. It's not club footy tactics. And also, don't do a shit kickoff to Leniu. If you get that kick wrong, like as a kicker, you should walk off with your head in shame. Like if you just like chip it and it lands on the 20-meter mark and the catcher just gives it to him with a 25-meter run up, like you get the shepherd's hook. But if you can pinpoint it, land it on around the try line, like about maybe 5 to 10 meters from the corner post, it's a difficult kick to execute, but it's doable. Like you get the advantage.
You've got to put the kick in the corner.
Yeah, because
if you put it near the post and Spencer's able to get the Harry off the kickoff, you're in trouble.
Don't put it near the So, but if you get that kick right, you actually get the advantage because that run, it becomes like a stuttered start. You don't actually get the full momentum, especially if you can get the catcher to turn, and that affects everything. But it'll be interesting to see what they do in game 2 when he comes on. The 1, 6, 7, 9, the spine of Queensland have been under the microscope, none more so than DCE. There are some journalists that are reporting he's played his last game for Queensland. Do you?
I don't agree with it.
You don't agree? You think he'll be given another?
I don't know whether. Yeah, I don't agree with him not playing. I want him to play.
Yeah. Based off his legacy or based off his performance on Saturday?
Both. I think if he had a bad game, I'd make an argument for it. But I think we had the same sort of ordeal with James Tedesco a couple of years ago where they were picking Dylan Edwards, and I think they gave him that one last go because DCE, whether people believe it or he's a champion player and he's proven himself many times in Origin. I just don't think you can disrespect a champion player by sacking him after one game. And in my opinion, it wasn't DCE's fault. There was a lot more drama around the game, or a lot more places where we lacked Queensland. Sorry, not us Kiwis. Queensland lacked skill and game plan and finesse. That it wasn't DCE. There was multiple other points, and for me, I think it's more of a respect thing. He's the captain. He deserves the spot after that game he played against the Broncos. And it's just a real difficult one because Tommy did and was really good when he played when he went out there, and he deserves to be in that side, but I think DC deserves another crack. I think he deserves it for all that he's done in the jersey, the performance he had. If he backs it up with another good performance, how can you say that he's done? You know?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think to make him the scapegoat and for him to take the blame for the performance of Queensland and in particular the spine of Queensland would be unfair. And although the Dearden coming in would bring energy and excitement, I think the experience of Cherry Evans is what is going to be needed going into game 2 over in Perth. I do, however, think Coach Slater really needs to consider Jai Arrow and Corey Horsburgh.
Yep.
And have that injection off the interchange bench.
I think Corey Horsburgh should be a moral at this point.
Yeah, look, I think Trent Liero's ability, performance isn't under question, and this isn't a knock on him, but for him to come off the bench, it's nothing like an Arrow or a Horsburgh coming on. Trent Liero is going to do an amazing conservative job.
Yep.
He's going to work hard, he's going to tie in, he's going to make his tackle, he's going to be mistake-free. You can trust him, but he's not going to bring too much on the offensive side of the ball. He's not going to generate much second phase play, quick play the ball. That's not his go. Where I feel like Jai Arrow, Corey Horsburgh certainly can, and I think that they need to reconsider Cotter on an edge as well. I think
I agree.
either go.
It's a tough one because they've got Hamasai, who's a fullback and centre, and then right next to him you've got Ruben Cotter, who's a lock at back rower. So you know what I mean. It's tough, but Ruben's done a job in that spot, and I can understand why they've put him there. But he'd be a perfect 13.
Yeah.
You know, for that Origin arena.
Yeah, I'm with you. On Origin, it was horrible to see Mitch Barnett go down yesterday. Coming up with a big play, Jaden Sullivan, he's desperate in defence, can't help. Like, that's what you want him to do every day of the week. Very difficult scenes to watch him post-game. He was pretty distraught. I think he knew at that point it was over, not just for Origin, but for the season as well.
So I didn't know what the confirmations were.
I think it's ACL.
Definitely.
Not confirmed, but you can.
It definitely looked.
I think the face, the face of Mitch Barnett said it all.
And you know, a player like Mitch Barnett is not laying down for a minor injury.
Yeah.
And I feel like in that play, he could have done a bad thing and dropped his hips, and he saw the back of Sullivan's legs and he tried to hop over them. Did you notice that?
Now that you mentioned it.
So like he was coming from the side, and you know that normal one where you're running, their legs are there, and you could just he could have just dropped his hips and hip dropped, but he's tried to jump over the legs of Sullivan, and he's jumped over, and that's when it's happened. Like I thought I saw a lot of respect in that. I feel like he could have dropped his knees into Sullivan's back of his legs and a lot of things like that, where it would have probably saved him, but he didn't do that, which is highly respectable, and it come out second best. But you could see there was like a little duty of care, although in the heat of battle, because that's what I saw anyway. So there's a lot of things he could have done differently, but he decided to try hop over that leg, which is it was interesting. It's just something I saw in the game.
Yeah, I think he should be applauded for that because I probably didn't pick it up at the time, but now going back looking at it.
You see he's jumped over the legs.
Yeah, he has, He's gone out of his way to avoid injuring one of his opponents, and he's actually cost himself. Where do you think New South Wales go? Is it next man up, Stefano Utoikamanu? Do they bring Terrell May into the mix, do you think? Obviously, he spoke about contacting Laurie Daly post-Origin to find out what he needs to do. Where do you think New South Wales turn, or even someone like Kaloma Tangi?
That's exactly who I think deserves the position. If you're going on form alone, Keon deserves a position, and the way he's playing at the moment, like he slots into that position. He covers back row, lock. Yeah, he covers prop. Whereas Stefano's only going to cover your prop, and Keon, he's got good leg speed. He can, get through a mountain of work. He's not missing many tackles at the moment. I'm not just saying that because he's a bunny either. Like I've been able to witness what he does at training, what he's doing on the field, the confidence he's playing with at the moment. I just think he deserves that spot, as well as Terrell May. Yeah. It's a tough one, but I think just the only thing that edges him against both Stefano and Terrell May is that he's versatile. Yeah,
and he's been there before. Stefano's played one Origin game as well, so yeah, it's. I think from those three, whoever Laurie Daly picks,
you're not really. You don't have a problem.
Yeah, that's it. Like how he splits the difference between those three is up to him. An incredibly difficult job to do. We've still got a round of football to get through, and we'll know more this time next week. But it's. Yeah, I don't think it's going to make or break the game. Either of those three come in and do an amazing job, and New South Wales will be still favourites to go out there and dominate through the middle because they were just relentless with their pursuit through that middle. On to our instant classic, Penrith Panthers against Parramatta Eels. Check out our VIP offers in the link in our show notes. Big things are coming to the buy round and some jerseys very, very soon, but we are proudly bought by our official sports apparel partner of the Buy Around podcast, Classic Sportswear. Whatever your team, from internationals, NRL, Super Rugby, or the grassroots, the Parramatta Eels against the Penrith Panthers, 15th against 17th. It was spoken about during the commentary that this was like a finals game. It was amazing to see what drew out that performance from Penrith, the opposition, the situation in terms of their season. It was phenomenal watching Cleary and Moses go at each other. Liam Martin looked like
man possessed, like he always does. To be fair,
yeah,
he's been one of the most consistent players in the comp for the last couple of years. To be honest with you,
but that game, I think sometimes the ladder can tell a little bit of a lie, and it certainly was watching that game yesterday.
Yeah, it was a win that Penrith needed, especially over the Origin period. Obviously, their performance last week wasn't the best, and mate, it's so weird. It's the amount of because I watched that game and thought Para, they're improving out of sight, and you'd never. That's how much respect you have for Penrith. Is you'd never say that about a side that's bit like playing that's lost to the team coming last. You know what I mean? Like it's the respect that Penrith still have in the rugby league, especially from myself. But it was so Para looked good. Unfortunately, they didn't start off the comp well without Moses, but they look so good, especially against the Penrith outfit that was actually firing. And I wonder if, the Origin players, how some can go to Origin and lose confidence on how they played, but I feel like it's gone the opposite way, or they've gone to Origin, then they come back, they've had a good Origin game, and now that's going to kick. And I want it for the Penrith, for them to kick, because we don't want to see a championship team like that go out without a fight.
Yeah, I'm with you. They've got to play finals. Their record now: 4 wins, 1 draw, 7 losses. They are going to face some difficulties during this Origin period, especially the next time they back up, which will be against the Warriors. Fly from Perth to New Zealand on the Saturday. It's hard to envisage any of their players backing up for that game. And then the third Origin, they've got Parramatta again, which you've got to question the scheduling. Like these two teams put on performances like that. Like these two teams have got a recent history of getting after each other. They're some of the best games of the season. To have it post-Origin twice just seems a complete oversight and fundamentally a mistake.
Who puts the comp together?
I don't know. I don't know, cheese. But Penrith certainly much back in the mixer. Yeah. I think that win gives them so much confidence. They've still got plenty of work to do. They're by no means out of the woods.
Can Para make the 8?
I think there's too many teams above them that aren't in the 8 as it stands for them to catch. Because there's too many teams in the hunt. So I think, unfortunately for Para, they're not the. So outside the 8 at the moment, we've still got Penrith out there, Brisbane not in there. I think Souths are out the 8. I think the Roosters are out the 8. So all those teams will be fighting for it. I don't think Para can jump them all without some of them jumping, if that makes sense. So obviously there's 8 spots, and I just don't think Para. If Para were on their own playing like this, and the usual suspects were in the 8, I think they could. But I think it's going to be a bit far-fetched at the moment.
It's so incredible. It really shines a light on how good of a player Mitch Moses actually is.
He is.
It really shines a light, because they were, respectfully, they were terrible without him. And now with him, they're like a completely different team.
Oh, mate, he's the new Tommy Turbo.
He actually, yeah.
He is the most important player to a team's chances. He made it was a great game. That, like, credit to all the Origin players that backed up. If you were an observer of that game, and you didn't know who played State of Origin on Wednesday, you in terms of like who looked fatigued, like or who looked was battling. Like all those Origin players were just out of this world good. They were so good to watch. Geez, the Warriors taking down the Bunnies. The Bunnies were coming home strong. Was it what got away from the Bunnies yesterday? I was at that game. It was so exciting.
It was that 10-minute period. And I think everyone that watched the game and everyone that you don't even need to know rugby league, they just allowed three easy tries back to back to back that it was probably one too many.
Yeah.
And that's as far as it goes. Like the Bunnies have shown that we've shown that we're in any game for the whole 80. And with Latrell Mitchell, you can come back from a lot of adversity. But it was just we let them get one too many in that period. And the fight back was it was too much of a fight back. I feel like the Warriors back five did a really good job at getting down, playing the ball really quickly, making easy meters, and we probably didn't slow down the ruck as much, and it allowed Wade Egan to he played such a good game. It allowed him to get out of dummy half, get slight breaks, and then that ended up getting the forwards in the back end of the set, and it just slowly chipped away at the Bunnies. And then when we swung the momentum back through a lot of brilliance by Latrell Mitchell, it was just a little bit too much to bring back. So with all the people that are out though, it's still, we don't want to lose, but it's still a great job. I think it was Wayne's 950th game.
Was it?
Yeah. And not Cody, and Alex Johnson, 200th try.
Got the hat trick, didn't he? Jeez, what a player, man. Second player in history for 200 NRL tries is quite the achievement.
He's only 31.
Yeah. He could break Ken Irvine's record. If he stays next year, I think and he can stay.
I think it's in trouble this year.
How many games are left for Souths?
No, we're going to the final, so...
Ooh.
We're going to the final, so about 16.
Well, if he's playing outside of Latrell Mitchell and he throws passes like he did yesterday, you could be onto something there. You know what was really interesting for me? The battle of the two fullbacks and how they affected the game differently. So I think at one stage... Charles Nickel-Cluxton ran for over 300 metres. Latrell Mitchell would have been under 100. But I'd argue Latrell had more of an impact on the game than Nickel-Cluxton did.
Yeah, well, that's just the thing. There's different types of players.
Yeah.
And Latrell Mitchell's not your yardage carrying player. And that's why I feel like with Latrell, everyone thinks like, you have to he has to do something. He has to be in the game. But Latrell Mitchell's a great player, but he needs help from the team as well, like any other player. Like Nathan Cleary's not great unless the forward pack's rolling or he's got stuff to work with. And Latrell Mitchell's not great if we don't have field position. Like if he's having 20 carries and 15 of them out of yardage, he's not going to have the impact because he's not a yardage carrying fullback.
And he's not a play 4 into 5 fullback, which a lot of them are as well.
Exactly. He doesn't
that he's wasted doing that. But sometimes Latrell, when he's out of touch, he gets criticised for his numbers. But again, the stats can be deceiving.
Yeah.
Like if you just looked at those stats.
Yeah.
And it's pure on me. Like you go, the Warriors fullback outplayed the Souths fullback. If you watch that game live, Chance was great and he put in so much effort, but like the difference Latrell made was incredible. Like the touch that he was in was amazing.
And that's the thing. That's why you see these periodic times where Latrell's so amazing, is because when the boys wrestle the game back, like they did in that period where Latrell was going so well, he's in position to attack from where he's a specialist at. So, hopefully when I come back, it's something that I can help with the team and help get on the front foot for them, unlock Latrell in his best spots. Rolling the ruck and getting quick play the balls and just getting him into a position where he can attack from. Because you're right, he's not Chance Nickel-Klogstad, he's not Dylan Edwards, he's not that type of fullback. But once he is, there's no one better.
Yeah.
Once he's in the position, there's no one better.
To win the moment,
Yeah.
To manage a game, to go after a game. Like, there's not a better person you'd go to in the comp. Just on the Warriors, Cheese, do you think they're the real deal? Are they destined for the top 4?
Yeah. I think they are.
Yeah.
I think they've got the attacking side of things better now. You know, they were struggling to score points in the first half. I think that's better. I think that's just the defense side of like letting in 30 points is probably not
do you
what a
think
winning
Barnett
team.
being out will cost them though? Do you think they can recover from?
I mean, it'll definitely hurt them, but I feel like if you've seen some of the younger players they have coming through, they are incredible.
That Halasima a weapon. That step that to score the try was pretty special. So yeah,
I think like it's going to be hard. I think it's not so much the playing ability they're going to miss, but the aura and the intimidation factor that Mitch Barnett brings, because he's known for that, and these younger fellas aren't. I think that's where it takes the biggest hit. And just I think his presence in amongst the side and his leadership will be missed for them.
Speaking of top 4 teams, Canberra Raiders, first team to crack 10 wins for the year. No buys yet. The most wins in the competition so far. They
are the real deal.
They are, aren't they?
Yep. Yeah. And to do what they done to the Roosters, who played so well as well. Like they had a lot of errors in the first half, but they defended so well. But what I take out of it is the Canberra Raiders, they done that with like the median age of their spine is like 21. You know what I mean? Like they were young. That hooker that they've got as well. Like Tom Starling's probably been the best hooker in the comp.
Yeah.
But
Owen Patty
is
good.
a player. Man.
Yeah, he's good, isn't he?
He is a player. And then losing Jamal Fogarty, I thought I had the Roosters to win that game, but without Jamal Fogarty, who's been so good this year, and then that kid just steps up, had a rough start to the game, but then just slowly brought him way back in. But they are the real deal, and you can just tell they're just never out of the game.
That Ethan Strange is a player as well, the young 5'8". He's I really like watching him play.
I don't think Dad was too happy about that try. He's the coach of the Roosters.
Yeah, I like him a lot. There's a couple of questionable refereeing decisions.
The knock on.
And I guess the no try that where Angus pulled the I think it was Sasagi back, but thankfully justice prevailed and the Raiders got the victory. For me, the Raiders now moving forward, they've shaken off this underdogs tag and
but sticky.
Well, this is what so now they're in a position. They've got 10 wins. They've got 3 buys with 12, 13 weeks of the competition to go. So they're going to get well rested. They've got a very favourable draw if you look at their remaining fixtures. It's going to be interesting to see how Ricky Stewart dials this group in, because now the challenge for the Raiders is win the games that you're expected to win, and we could be not a top 4 team.
Number 1.
We could be a top 2.
Yeah.
1 or 2. It doesn't really matter. You're going to get a home semi-final week 1.
And they're terrible to play at home.
So likely, if things are on the trajectory that I think they're going to go on, they'd play Warriors or Storm at home in week 1 of finals. And I know this is so far into the future, but they've set themselves up now in a position to be a top 2 team, home semi-final, week 1 of finals. But I guess probably you've never been in this situation, but the difficulty now, or the real task at hand for Stewart, is to go. We're now favourites. Go out there and you've got to keep it up. And this young group that will be full of confidence, but we know in the NRL that your confidence can get shattered pretty quickly. It doesn't take much. So it's almost like a new challenge for the Raiders. I thought that was a statement win yesterday, away from home in Sydney, losing Fogarty so late. Like they had a lot to get through. The Roosters, who's come off that huge win, all their Origin players backing up, they were clearly all in for the fight. But now Stewart's new challenge for season 2025 begins.
I think Sticky's done such a great job. Like, I just think that underdog thing, it doesn't matter anymore. Because I feel like the leaders, Joe Tarpany, Hudson Young, Jamal Fogarty's got calm, levelled head. Like they're a team that's genuinely playing for each other. Like they don't have the greatest game plans in the world, but geez, they turn up when they need to. And you can see it in the way they are, the way they stick together, the way they spray the crowd together. Like that's all part of it. Like the underdog story's been gone for a while for me. Like they're already been called favourites against good teams. You know what I mean?
I thought they as well.
I can see Sticky right now.
As well against the Roosters, they come off that really emotional win in New Zealand against another top 4 team. I thought they may have run out of juice yesterday, and when they were behind at half time, a couple of the decisions go against them. That's the sign of a team that is willing to fight and scrap for one another. And you know what's interesting as well? I remember hearing Ricky Stewart speak about the players came to see him, the senior players, and say, mate, you can't ride the results like you're doing. Like it's too hard to be around you. You've got to change. And he said he did. He listened to them. And I was sort of on the side of like, well, hang on, Ricky, maybe you're right. Have you ever thinking he got it wrong? But he's listened to the players. He's not as emotionally affected by the outcome. And when we speak about Maguire and what he needs to change, maybe that's it. Maybe it's that, right, it's back to work mentality, or the win is great, but we just move on. The loss is bad, but we just crack on with it. And that is apparently one of the key changes in Ricky Stewart's attitude in the week-to-week coaching operations. Yeah,
well, that's a testament to the players and the connection they have with Ricky. I don't know if everyone in the comp has a team that can go to the coach and say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
It means the connection between Sticky and his players is big enough that they can pull him up where he's wrong, which is a very, very difficult thing to do as a leadership group and a playing group. Like that's not easy, and I'm assuming Joseph Tarpany would have been one of them for him to be able to do that. And it goes to show why they're probably where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. There wasn't much to talk about.
Also, what's that winger's name?
Tamale.
Holy fuck.
Mate,
he is one of the best players I've seen for a long time come through.
He is.
He is the fucking real deal, man.
There's some
people that are just born with strength. Like, you know what I mean? He's small. But
little Lehigh Hopper, Lehigh Hopper when he burst through Carrigan and Hetherington, it was like, oh my God. But Tamale, I reckon he's the pound for pound, the strongest player in the NRL.
I watched him bump someone off from a standing still. Like he was standing still with someone around his legs. They went to hit him. Well, like someone was, and he just bumped on his ass.
He is freakishly strong. The Dragons convincingly beat the Knights. The Knights, I think, season it is over. But the Tigers against the Cowboys, it was an bizarre game. The comeback was on for the Tigers. I think it was 32-6 at one point.
Yeah.
Game over. And then the Tigers slipped into gear. But probably in reflection of that game, the discipline just cost them.
Exactly. I think they had 2 sin bins.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
One being Luai.
Yeah, Luai was gone, and I think...
That's why the result was probably 32-6 to begin with. Like, it wasn't the Cowboys were a much better side than Tigers. It was just Mate, you try to play 20 minutes with one person missing.
Yeah, it was Dewey. That was the other sin bin as well. I think you've got to give credit to the Tigers for coming back in. It shows a bit of a change about who they are. I think in yesteryear, in fact, it actually has happened where they've played the Cowboys and it's ran into the 60s. So it's completely changed who the Tigers are. They're willing to fight for each other. They didn't get the victory, but things are trending in a positive direction for them. Cheese, before we finish up, Teamlist Tuesday and the Bulldogs. Where do you think Mr. L. Galvin features?
I'd say bench. I think he's on the bench.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it would be it'd be a big decision to put a spine player that hasn't learned the systems properly straight in there. But also there's that sort of just rip the Band-Aid off and let it happen.
Just get him involved.
Yeah.
That King's birthday game, by the way, it is, as we currently speak, on track to beat the record that was set on Good Friday against South Sydney. Dogs fans, Eels fans, I think tickets are about to go on sale that are going to be incredible value for money. This is something that you need to be a part of. I know on the TV screens, on the radio, you can feel that atmosphere, but there is no better thing to be a part of than a big crowd. King's birthday, long weekend, enjoy yourself, and then on the Monday, get down to Echo Stadium, be a part of something incredibly special. It means so much to the players from both sides. The more people that are there, the better the game is going to be. I was at a King's birthday game once, which I think Bulldogs got a last-minute victory, and the way that the two teams performed was basically because of the crowd. You guys make such a difference, so Bulldogs fans and Para fans, get out there, be loud, and it's going to be a great occasion. Looking forward to calling that one for Triple M on Monday. Cheese, you introed us in, so you've got to get us out of here, my friend, so over to you.
That's all, folks. Till next week.